Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Eugene Honrath from Shadow Warriors community, and I've got Jessica J on with me. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. This is our Meet the Maker series, and we're going to get a quick synopsis of who Jessica J is and what she does, where she's located, and all that kind of stuff. Then we're going to get down to it a little bit more.
Sounds good.
So tell me who you are, where you're located, and kind of what you do, and your company name, and all that kind of stuff.
Um, Obviously, I'm Jessica J. Murray. um, I'm in New York State, upstate New York, by the Capitol, in the leather stocking region of New York. We're also in the foothills of the Adirondacks in the Mohawk River Valley. It's beautiful God country up here, not the kind of New York most people think of.
No, we were talking about that earlier. I think when most people um, think of New York just as a whole, they think of New York City, and they don't actually realize how, at least to me, how rural a majority of New York State is.
It really is.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
and then you said that it was snowing out.
It was. It stopped right now. We have some sun.
And
Yeah, we
listen,
got about 10 inches.
this warms my heart because as a Florida boy, well, currently, I miss snow and just haven't had a chance over the past couple winters to seek it out and go it. But
You can come
next,
up and take as much as you'd like.
ah, I know that's what everybody says. They're like, I wish we didn't have snow. Someone said the other day, a guy named Ryan Bishop, he said, I'm just done with winter. When's this gonna be done? I'm just done.
Well, I'm offering free snow. Just come shovel it out of my driveway because it's not been shoveled yet. So you just take a scoop and go, and pretty soon I'll be able to get my car out.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you'll have people knocking on your door. Hold on, do you have a couch that I can sleep on?
I do.
Okay, sweet. All right, I'll be there.
She sleeps on the couch too, so you'll just have to share it with the little one.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So tell me a little bit about your business and the products that you create.
Um, the business is well, I make smiles and confidence and beauty. I didn't think that's what I was making, but
Okay.
apparently that's what my customers say I make. So I guess I have to go with what they say, right?
Yeah.
Um, I work with leather. I keep it feather inspired.
Okay.
It's kind of like I niche things down, and so leather and feather inspired, working with leather and making custom jewelry. So
Oh,
earrings are things that I make. These are larger ones. Obviously, not everyone's into large jewelry, but I also have smaller pieces as well. Um, all
is
of them
there
can.
is there a significance behind the feather?
Um,
Like a specific reason other like a higher reason or anything like that you went with a feather?
I suppose you could say a higher reason. My business mission statement is that it reminds us to hide under his wings. It helps us remember we can rise up on wings of eagles. It lets us remember that there are angels among us, which they all come from the Bible.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess you could say a higher reason. But
No,
also feathers are extremely popular and the shape is very fitting for jewelry. So
yeah. No, I love that. I think when there is a reason behind a name, behind a logo, behind a business, at least as a customer or a potential customer, I like that and I appreciate that more than if there was one that was just, yeah, I'm making leather or I'm making feather earrings because they sell, only because they sell.
they're really not like the cheer shape sells probably is more popular on the internet and with people buying. But there are a few people making feathers. But yeah, I guess we can go into like the reason I started the business.
Yeah.
During the international pandemic, I lost my job. Big surprise. A lot of people did. And I needed income. My brother You're familiar with him. I think a lot of people in the community are familiar with him, Robert Roadkill Murray.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, he works with leather, and I had been telling him to take his scraps and make jewelry with it because I've made jewelry since high school.
Okay.
And so I was like, it's easy to make jewelry. I could teach you how. I mean, it's easy for me. I've been doing it since forever.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was like, I'll teach you how. And he's like, I don't want to make jewelry. I don't want to get into that.
I
And
can see
so
him
when I
saying that.
lost, yeah, well, he's got a very good niche of his own with his business, with his
Sure.
leather. So when I lost my job, he's like, you need to do this. You need to take your jewelry making skills and leather and put it together. And he connected me with this guy here locally. There's a, I'm in leather stocking region. There's a local guy that sells leather. So I went up to him and I was like, hey, I want to do this. And he
Right.
handed me a few pieces and said, let's get started. And the rest is history.
How did you you said you've been making jewelry for a while. How did you get into that? You just kind of started one day? Like, what is there anything in your background that lend to that, or
um, Hyper creativity.
okay, like
Um,
ADHD or
I actually don't have ADHD. I have high functioning autism.
okay.
So, but yeah, a lot of similar traits. So there's a lot of crossover there with like those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Um, so I was actually diagnosed with ADHD first,
Okay.
and then they were like, "Oh wait, no, you actually, you're a little bit more on the spectrum than that.
On the spectrum.
You're a little
Yeah.
further along." But yeah, no, I went to art school. I was very creative since I was a child. Always very talented with painting and drawing and everything creative. My first job was at Joanne Fabrics.
Yeah.
So it was probably just before I got that job, or maybe just after, when I had access to every craft tool and supply available because I worked there.
Right.
So that's when I just started trying things, doing things. When it was the 80s, we couldn't afford a lot. We came from a rather, we weren't poor, but we didn't have a lot of extras. And
Right.
in the 80s, of course, the jewelry was extravagant and everything was extra and over the top. So
True.
if I wanted big, flashy, beautiful earrings and necklaces and clothing, I actually made my own clothing as well. I just made it all because how else were we going to?
That's awesome. I mean, I think that I I have from an early age been attracted to people making things. My my mom used to make all of our Halloween costumes. She used to make clothes, but gave that up when she started working a ton. Um, my grandfather was always like in the garage. My dad was always working on something. It's something that I have appreciated from a young age because I know what goes into that, and I think that's what this country was built on, right? Manufacturing, doing for yourselves, that kind of stuff. I think that's awesome. That's um that's awesome. How is the business going in general?
Um, this is my only occupation. It's the only thing I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
awesome.
haven't lost the house yet, knock on wood.
I the you know that that's it's one of those things that unless you've like been there and done that, and you have been 100% commission or 100% in your business, we joke about it and laugh about it, but it's a real thing. Like it's small. This is the United States has a backbone of small businesses, and there's been a lot of that fail. A very high percentage of small businesses fail. So outside of the jewelry, are there other products that you create or make with the leather or otherwise?
I'm also a artist. I draw a lot. Actually drew these stickers. This is a squirrel and a shiny object. So for all of you who do have ADD, squirrel
Yeah, I'm
and
like,
shiny
what's going
object.
on?
So this is how we keep you focused then, Eugene. I just put this right here. And
Yeah,
you're like, ooh, shiny object, you'll pay attention. Um,
true. I might need that. I might need that. It's
so originally I made these as a fundraiser.
okay.
Giving is a huge part of my life. I've always given. I still do a lot of donations to charities. I still participate in giveaways. So I made these. So that's a hand-drawn squirrel. I drew that. And
Oh,
then
that's awesome.
after that, I drew a turtle, which I don't have next to me, because somebody in my brother's group asked if my brother's pens could draw a turtle. And so I drew a turtle and said, yeah, my brother's pens can draw a turtle.
You ate your brother's what?
Pens?
Pens. Oh,
Yeah. His
pens. Okay, for a second, I wasn't connecting the two, even though I know that he does leather as well as like turning stuff. Gotcha. So do you know so when you sell or give away or present those stickers, do you make a assertive effort or make it known that you drew that?
yes, yes. And I also have them on t-shirts, totes, mugs, cups. I should have been using the mug that has the turtle on it
Yeah.
instead of got my Mandalorian mug.
I think that sometimes people don't really, especially artists like yourself, they're like, yeah, that's easy. Yeah, I do that. Yeah. And I don't think that I'm working with an artist right now, and she does her and her husband make they hand make flags out of primarily wood. And my assumption was that all of the designs, all of the wording, all of the stars were all done by some other mechanism. And then when I found out they were done by her hands, every single one, even like people's portraits, I was like, why aren't you telling people about that? That's amazing. Like you drawing that squirrel to me is like amazing.
I do a lot of maker videos where I'm show myself making it. For
Oh, love
Christmas,
it.
I did a herd of deer and literally filmed the last piece. Well, I filmed a lot of it, but the last piece specifically I used in a reel to show people I drew this. And then I turned around, had it printed on t-shirts and had it printed on all these other items so people can buy them.
How how is like your so primarily it's the leather, it's the jewelry, it's the things around that. Have you had any success with selling t-shirts, apparel, and those kind of things?
I've only started with the Christmas rush.
Okay.
People had been asking for more than just stickers. I started off with just the stickers, and then they asked for more than just stickers. And I was like, okay. So I kind of ramped that up for Christmas, giving another product, putting that out there. I've been sick a couple times throughout the last year. It was a terrible year. I caught that pandemic myself. And then I
Mm.
finished the year with a really bad infection and an operation.
Oh,
Yeah. So
woo. All
it was
right.
a fun year.
See you later, 2022. Get out of here.
Yeah, right? Goodbye. So, while I was laid up in bed, I just was doing digital designs with the laptop.
Yeah.
And so I put those in my Etsy store and put those on t-shirts and stuff and kind of ramped that up for the Valentine's Day sales.
Oh, nice. And we'll have a link to all of everything, social media, everything, whether it's in the comments on social media, or it'll be below in this video in the description. We'll put all of Jessica's information. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. The how successful selling 20, 30 plus dollar t-shirts have been for people. It's pretty interesting because when you look around and when you look at all the sales that a lot of these apparel brands have amassed, but you go out in public, you don't really see that many unique t-shirts,
Right?
and you see a lot of like major
Who are they
brands in that
selling
kind
to?
of, huh?
Right? Who are they selling to?
Well, the only thing I can think of is like they're selling them, people are buying them, and they're either just like scared to wear them, or they're not wearing them, because I could name 5 or 10 names that you've probably never heard of, that sell apparel only primarily, that you don't really see out there. It's crazy. I think there's a need for it. There's a want, and especially like unique designs. So I would see. I always just wonder when people are also selling apparel, how well that does.
I've only been doing it for a couple months, so I don't really have a good gauge on that. I know
Okay.
I've sold, I sold more than I thought I would.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's
I
awesome.
was looking for something to keep myself busy, and it's a more passive revenue generator
Right.
than the leather, because the leather is constant. I have to be making.
Yep.
Where with the t-shirts and stuff, I make it once, sell it as many times as I wanted, so, or as many times as people want. So it's just a more passive way to earn income for me.
Are you showing people, and I guess I should know this, but are you showing people how you made those designs? I think that's some
Not the
bingeable
graphic
content.
designs. Yeah,
Okay.
not the graphic designs, but the hand drawn ones. Yes, I do maker videos of me painting and me drawing, and
Nice. Yeah, that
people don't
it's
really
always
want to
interesting.
watch you sit and work on your computer.
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah. I mean, you'd be surprised.
I
You
haven't
know,
found that, but I do find that people get mesmerized and lost in maker videos. Like I could do a 2-hour video of me just sitting there working slowly, and people will actually watch it.
I came across a recently a Facebook friend that I never really interacted with, but is on my Facebook friend list. And apparently they do these Zoom calls where they all just kind of like get on the Zoom call at this specific time and work on their stuff together. Okay. As like inspiration.
There's
Uh,
a few workers, they do what is it, the Friday nights that they do it? They open a room up on Facebook
okay.
and you just turn it on while you're working. So
Yeah.
if you're working late on Friday night, you turn that on and you have someone to talk to.
Yeah.
Because when you're in your studio, I've got the dog to talk to. That's it. And she's super needy and she has her own little chair right here. This is my workbench that I'm on right now. Um, and this is also where I do my lives on Facebook. So I have product back there, and
Okay.
um, but you know, she's like she just sits here, and right now she's actually sitting behind me on the same chair I'm on. and, and you know, that's it. I don't have no one to talk to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's nice. Like you can't do, when you do a Facebook live, you can't read the comments while you're working.
Sure. Sure.
So in a room you can, and then how do you get strangers into rooms is really hard. You know, how do you get
That's
customers
been
into rooms?
that's been a problem for a really long time. How do you get strangers into a room?
I
But
didn't think about it that way.
no, but you're right.
That's why I'm single.
I don't know if you want some of those strangers in your room, but
True.
I think that like don't ever, and I had this same conversation with the guy with James who makes the flags, don't ever underestimate the monotonous that you may think that people want to see, even just to tune in to watch, put varnish on something or staple something. I'm just, whatever it is, trace out things, because that is some of the most successful content that I've seen, because you may, and people like your brother may take it, for advantage, like how easy some of that stuff is and how you can do it without even thinking. The majority of your potential customers, it's amazing to them, like
So since
shocking.
we're on the topic, I'm going to explain this to you.
Yeah.
I took a hide of leather, which I have a piece of right over here.
How
Nice.
much do you buy at a time?
This one is a half cow.
How big is that?
How big is a cow?
I mean, like it's like half of their cow, like half of their. Okay, all right, okay. So
Obviously,
pretty
I
big.
don't need pieces that big, but when I do buy, it was a good price, so
Yeah.
had to get it. And once I get a half cow, then I do bigger pieces with it.
Okay.
So I have other ones. I usually buy like a quarter,
Okay.
a shoulder, a rump, a quarter of it.
Okay.
I get a lot of exotics as well, but they don't sell as well. People like more affordability. I understand why.
Sure.
So anyway, so I take this and it looks good and I cut it and whatnot. And people think, I actually had this conversation with my cousin the other day, and my cousin knows this process. He's familiar. He sat and watched me work because he'll come over and chat or whatever. And so it surprised him the other day when I was cutting just this piece of leather, and it took me 3 hours to cut these three pieces. And he's like, why did it take 3 hours? Well, I put down my template and I traced it and then I cut it. But then you got to make sure that none of the marks that you made for your template are showing. So you trim it again. And then it's got this nap on the back. So you have to, the nap has to be combed. Okay. And then it has to be trimmed because it's too long. And then the edges all have to be burnished. And this is a dual tan. A dual tan is a type of leather that has two tanning processes.
Okay.
So it has some of the elements of a veg tan and some of the elements of a chrome tan.
Okay.
So it's probably the thickest leather I usually work with is dual tan. And it's very hard to burnish. Like you can't use the typical burnishing techniques like my brother. He'll just sit there with a wood and go and shine it
Yeah,
up real
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah.
You can't do that with a dual tan.
So how do
So
you is it, how do you say it?
there's
Varnish?
burnish.
Burnish.
Yes. Kind of varnish, but you're burning it. That's what the friction does.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't you can't do that with this. So you have to use a chemical composite, like a lot of people use. I can't pronounce it, so never mind. So a lot of people use different products. I actually use a varnish
Okay.
product and my Dremel to give it that burnished look. So it's got that nice shiny edge.
Yep, yep.
And you also have to, because you can't technically varnish it, you have to trim the nap at an angle all the way around the entire piece. So
So
3 hours just to get 3 pieces of leather cut.
see what I'm saying? People think that you just go and it's done.
And so most of my videos, I don't even show that. I just did one of that and it didn't do really good because nobody wants to see you just keep combing the back of this and trimming and combing and trimming and zooming and doing, and the outcome is great,
Did
but
you
nobody wants to look at that.
when you posted that, did you post it real time or did you post it sped up?
Double time.
Okay.
Like usually I do hyperlapse, which is like 3 times 3 or something like that.
Okay.
So this was not quite like, it wasn't quite like that. It was slower.
Okay.
Like you would have thought that was natural speed for cutting, but you actually have to cut really slow.
Sure, sure.
So it's like natural speed for cutting a piece of paper.
Yeah, we're not cutting paper here.
Cutting something you can easily replace. I'm not doing that, so I go nice and slow.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so 3 hours into a custom piece, and that's all I had done. And there's 6 pieces all together. This is a chrome tan, so this was part of it. So 6 hours to get.
Oh, you dyed the front and the back of it?
This one I only dyed the back of it. A chrome tan came dyed. It's a suede.
Oh, okay.
Blue suede, well, turquoise suede. So you can see that at the edge, it's turquoise suede.
Interesting.
And I dyed the black brown to go with the brown that it's going with, because these are going to come together like that when I get done.
Is that earring?
Yes, but no.
Okay, because I'm thinking like this is a professional tie or something.
There you go. This is an earring, but not for a human. So this one, this is what this one's going to look like when it's done.
Okay.
Is the human's earring.
Okay.
Right. So it's got the sunflower and the turquoise. Very Southwestern because this one is for a lady who owns a horse. And then this one will be the horse's earring.
Horses have, I know they have ears.
Not for a pierced ear. You add it to their harness, you add it to their top, you add it to their saddle.
Okay. Even better.
It's a mommy and me set.
Listen, I I need to write this note down. So I
So here's a finished one. This one's called Patience because the charm says patience. So you can see it's got some things. It's got a little hook.
yeah,
See the hook? And that little lobster claw clips onto the tack.
I
And
I have
then
I haven't told anyone this, but I have this. It'll make sense in a second. So I have new business partners, and we're building a site and creating a business called Hooves to Holland. And we were sitting on the phone 2 nights ago thinking about categories of businesses for the livestock, horse, donkey, cattle, so on and so forth, farriers, feed stores, like health and wellness, all that kind of stuff. We never actually said Jory had thought about that.
nobody makes jewelry for horses except me.
Well, then you'll be the only one in our category of jewelry.
This is my number one selling custom item. I only sell them custom. That's it.
That's awesome.
And they always come in a set. You can't just buy one for your horse. You have to buy mommy and
Yeah.
me sets. And yeah, it's my number one custom item. If I could do those all day, I would be very happy. I think
It's
it's just awesome, like to be able to decorate your horse.
and people are spending a lot of money
Yes.
specifically on their horse.
It's not why I do it, but yes. I
Is
did it
it
because I was looking at a painting of a horse where it was like a Native American type style
okay?
painting, and
Yep.
the horse had feathers in its mane.
Yep.
And I don't know what's wrong with me, but I looked at this painting. I mean, obviously it's hand painted, it's imagination. And I'm like, now how did those feathers stick?
Ah, but no, I understand. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
then I thought, well, if I use a clasp, I could get them to stick in the braids. Like I could use this little lobster claw to stick it in the braid. And so I was like, oh, that's how you get them to stick. And so I just started making them. And at first they didn't sell. And then I started donating them to horse rescue auctions.
Okay.
And now I'm getting custom orders. And I'm working on
Awesome.
trying to set up a form on my website
Yep.
where you can kind of pick your colors.
Yep.
And then I go from there. So you can pick your colors, you can agree to it, pay 25% up front. If you don't pay the rest when it's finished within X number of days, I sell it to somebody else.
Well, we're gonna put a jewelry category on there now. I never really thought about that, but it's interesting how much I mean like they're doing like which I don't have I've never owned a horse. I've never owned really livestock other than chickens, but people are like doing acupuncture and massage and like there's swimming facilities and like all this stuff. My eyes have been opened up to it, and I'm like,
Will you be doing llamas as well?
we're gonna do anything that that
Yes,
is
backpacking llamas. These
yeah.
would be great for as well.
Oh,
My
okay.
mom had llamas. And so, yeah, told you I grew up in the country. We had
Yeah.
llamas and geese.
Oh, we have quite a few llamas here out not too far away from where I live. Llama farms that have well, you don't really realize they're there until you like look off in the distance and there's packs of llamas.
Yeah,
Like
they're pack animals. They stay close too.
a
They'll go
lot.
wherever each other is
Yep.
in little
Yep.
groups.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of them backpack. These would be great for their packs. You can do
Oh,
mommy and me for the llamas as well.
there you go. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to do anything that is kind of, it's going to be a Yelp, but for livestock and those types of things. We're not really going to get into cats and dogs and that kind of stuff. I mean, it may happen, but it's going to be, I mean, llamas, I guess, would be in that kind of that livestock type
My
arena.
jewelry is bad for dogs.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Ask Lily. She'll tell you. She loves to eat them because it's leather
Leather,
and, but it's
rawhide
really not
leather.
digestible and she has quite trouble when she eats them. So you can ask her, she doesn't like them.
Oh, Yeah. Well, I can understand where she's coming from. I personally love the smell of leather. Like, oddly, I don't know why. Like, when I go into a leather
Everybody does.
store, I just like that smell.
Everybody loves it.
I just love it. Well, so
This
on
room smells like leather all the time.
do you get like nose blind to it?
Yes.
Like, you'll go away for a day or something, and you'll come back and you'll be like, oh, okay, I forgot my place
I'm
smelled like this.
home.
Yeah, right.
Or I walk into like a leather store that's selling like leather jackets and stuff, and I walk out like, it smells like home.
Well, but when you're buying a whole cow of leather or even a half one, I can imagine that smell is pretty intense and good. Well, so while we were just talking about the horse, mommy and me kind of thing, that you kind of indicated that that's custom. Do you do other custom work, and how does the custom process generally work, or how's it worked in the past?
That's my number one custom piece, but I'm very dedicated to making sure my customers get what they want. I have 80% of my customers are repeat clients. Clients. They're not just customers anymore. Now they're actually like they become friends. They become
Sure.
family. Actually, it's community. So um, they just like reach out. Like the other day, I had a lady reach out to me. She's like, "Hey, I bought a new outfit. It's got a lot of silver, black, and white. I'm speaking at this engagement on this date. What do you have on your website?" And so
Okay.
I show her a few pieces, and she's like, "Well, no, no, no." She sends me a picture of her top, and I say, "Hold on." And I sketch something out, send it to her. She's like, "Well, maybe, I don't know." And so by morning, I had 6 pair for her to choose from. I let her choose, and the ones that she didn't choose, I put on the website.
That's awesome.
2 of them are
That,
left out of the
oh,
6. The rest of them sold.
nice. That's
So
interesting.
so
I
I'm
think,
committed to making sure people have what they want. The unique thing about women, and the thing that I always have to focus on with my business, is everything is one of a kind. I'm not a factory.
okay.
There's no mass production.
Oh, gotcha,
I
gotcha.
do make a size small, medium, and large, and extra large, all with similar.
But if
So if you like a similar color pattern, you'll find it in each, in some,
right,
but not every. For the most part, we're going to be looking at just a one of a kind piece. Like nobody else will have that combination, that look, that everything, because it's all hand done.
right,
So the thing with women is nobody wants to go to the ball and show up with the same dress Princess is wearing, the
sure.
Cinderella's wearing. Nobody wants to show up with the same ball and look at somebody and go, "Oh, but that my dress looks better on you. I'm going home to change." You know? And people always are like, maybe women will share your products with their friends. No, they won't. They
Oh, you
want their one of a kind. They
oh,
want to be the only one.
right. Yeah, you never want to
And
show up with the same dress.
so in order to get women to share, everyone is a one of a kind. And if you can't find the right pair to match your story, I'll make it.
I love that.
There's no reason for you to have to worry about that sort of thing. I kind of get rid of that, except in the horse market where the women are all being very quiet about it because it's a new idea to add jewelry to your pony. It's
Yeah,
not new.
yeah,
The Indians used to do it, but
sure. Yeah. Have you um what's the craziest request that you've ever gotten while doing this?
I knew you were going to ask that one.
Well, I like it. I think it's interesting because sometimes you hear, especially because leather is so,
Yeah, yeah. So the craziest thing anyone ever asked me to do custom made was S&M gear.
yeah, they were
Yeah,
like,
which I turned down.
oh, okay. Okay, all right.
Not really good with straight line cutting,
No, what
but that's really all it is straight lines and these, some studs in there and some it's
so
real
so
easy leather work, but not.
so what you're saying is you just forwarded that to Robert.
No, I didn't.
you're like, I got a great company that will do it, but don't tell them where you got the contact.
Yeah, no, I didn't forward it to my brother. They actually wanted it local,
Okay.
so um,
I'm sure that
and
they
I,
have like I'm sure custom leather gear like that is not cheap.
yeah, thanks for reminding me because I could have used the money, but but no, I just couldn't do it. And then the other craziest request was on the art side with my painting and drawing. Somebody asked if I could draw them nude
Okay.
because they had heard that I had done a lot of life drawing and figure drawing and stuff, and they were like, can I pose for your nude? I want nude drawings of myself." And I was like, "No."
That is like a thing within itself. I mean, and like to be serious, like that's like portraits and what'd you just call it? Life drawing?
Life drawing and figure drawing, yeah. To
Interesting.
not just do the face, but to do the body.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I recently came across an artist who um she paints primarily nude women, but in a very realistic, tasteful way, and um, it's interesting. It's interesting because I know how um, I'm too obsessive over whether my drawings look perfect, that it forces me just not like I don't even do it. I don't do it. I think I can do a drawing pretty well, but it takes me so long and I obsess over every single thing that I don't do it. So I appreciate artists like yourself that can get over that and can do it in a that know are so good that can do it so quickly.
That actually leads me, not quick, but it leads me to one of the other things I do is I teach painting and drawing. I used to
Hmm.
hold classes right here in the studio pre-pandemic. Now I don't hold them there. I do occasionally do like a Zoom type style. It's much harder because I can't really see what you're doing and help you individually that way.
Okay.
And I also used to paint at Michael's, do the painting classes at Michael's. So, but the store left the area, so I don't do that anymore. So
For a father parent that has a child who is very artistic, um, we look for those kind of things, cooking, artistry. We haven't really been able to find in the local area. If we found them, they've been like hard to fit into our schedule, but there's not been much in the way of like art classes, art.
yeah, even Michael's has stopped there since, well, some of the stores still have it, but for the most part, a lot of the stores have stopped doing the classes since the pandemic. So it's hard to find classes since then. That market's because before the pandemic, that and selling my paintings
Okay.
to galleries and to shows and even nationally and internationally, that was a huge income. I sent my son to private school on that, as
Oh,
well as working a regular job. So all of that kind of shut down with the pandemic. It's just not the same. I mean, there's still people selling their art,
yeah,
but that whole market has changed. And I just didn't make that shift with them. I didn't figure that out.
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't, everybody
The
jumped and I went, wait, what are we doing?
Yeah,
And dismissed it.
the only thing that we found were uh either with the school system 2 summers ago, and last summer we did a um with uh the count with a county around here. They had like a and it wasn't something specific. It was kind of like they worked on different things throughout the summer on this one particular day. But my daughter loves that kind of stuff. She's like making pictures everywhere. So it's I
Sounds like me. I like
yeah,
it.
it no, that's I that's awesome. I think that the arts sometimes go on, and this the arts sometimes go under unappreciated across the board, and how much talent it actually takes and the vision it takes to think of something like that and then execute it.
So to circle back to what started this, when I teach the art classes, what you said about having that expectation and having that expectation be the stumbling block. You have an expectation of what's going to come out onto the paper or onto whatever you're painting or drawing. You have an expectation, and that is actually a wall.
Yeah.
You have to let the medium do what the medium does. And that's a problem I have with people who request custom pieces. They have an expectation in their mind, and I've got to get rid of that. So, like, my custom order says it's going to be inspired by this. But whatever it turns into, it turns into. Your 25% down is non refundable. And if you don't want it, you don't have to keep it. I'll sell it to someone else.
Where did that come from? Because I think that's an interesting point, right? So setting the expectation on, even just at the very base level, the product, no less the custom product, is super important. And most makers don't think about that or are too scared to say something like that.
Because I teach the art classes, I'm very open to explaining that, because I explain it to people all the time with the art classes. Hey, listen, get rid of those expectations and go with the flow. You'll enjoy the outcome so much better.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
With this piece, I was really lucky. The lady was like, I really want like a turquoise stone, and I really want a sunflower, and I have a black horse, and I want it to stand out. So I did brown because it'll stand out on the black horse. And I did the turquoise, and you can't really tell, but the feather shape here it looks like the turquoise stone.
Yep. Yep. See it a little bit.
And so I really lucked out because this was easy to do, a turquoise stone and a sunflower. I put a little turquoise in the sunflower. I don't know if you can see that.
Yep.
Ties it together. Boom. All I have to do now is put the metal on. There's going to be some bead work and some fringe coming down.
And you hand painted that sunflower?
Yep. If you go to my Facebook page, you will see a reel of some of the painting. And you go to the YouTube, I will be uploading the full video once I figure out how to put the different videos together into one, because I
Yep.
don't have a video editing tool that will allow that size.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I may just post them individually, because I took breaks. Each one's a couple hours worth of filming, and then I take a break, stop and take a break, walk around, do something besides.
Jeez. Yeah. No, I can imagine how time intensive and like mentally that is exhausting that could be, in a positive way or a negative way. I mean, just how much it takes to do that.
The hardest part is learning to do it with a camera here.
Yeah, you're like,
This camera literally just faces downward, and then I'm just like, and it's facing down, and I have to like look through it. So a lot of the videos, you'll see my little face peeking around the corner of the video, because I'm like trying to get a little closer to see the detail.
That's crazy.
I worry about the knife makers with that, because everybody wants to see the making videos. And when you have a phone that has to have a good angle in order to keep your audience happy, and you still have to make, like when I'm doing metal work and stuff, I don't usually film it because it's dangerous. You can put an eye out if you're not paying attention, even with the small pieces of metal I'm working with, especially with them, because they fly off in different directions when you cut them.
You cut your finger, you could do a lot of stuff. That's definitely a good a concern, because if you just go to making a knife and you go on YouTube, they're getting millions of views on that process in general, and whole people's companies and careers have been started by just making those videos, and that have kind of like propelled them. So it's needed, but not it shouldn't be at the safety of you guys. But it's sometimes I think I if it's a knife maker, I just tell them to set up a camera in the easiest way possible and either stream or catch as much as the process you can, because people want to see the process.
With reels being so popular, I find that doing like a hyperlapse video,
Okay.
so it's going and it's hyperlapsing, so I don't have to speed it up after the fact. Do one of those right from the start, and then splice it together into a reel. They get a little bit of the process, a little bit of the process, a little bit of the process, and you're safe
Yeah. Yeah.
because you're just like filming a few seconds. Well, you have to film for a while to get a few seconds, but that way you're not filming the entire process the entire time, and you have like the stuff that's not as dangerous, you can just film. The stuff that is more dangerous, you just turn it off and take care of the business.
Yeah, we're in this content driven society that people want just want insane amounts of content, and it's, you either find your customers a completely different other way. I'm not saying that you can't find them, but it's almost a requirement to produce content. You're a maker
It
and a
is.
content creator, and those are separate but similar jobs.
Yep, it really is. Especially like when you're doing custom jobs, people want to see that their work being made. They want to be part of the process. They want to feel like they've owned it. They want to feel.
How do you do your custom pricing? Like, no, I'm not, no one's we're not going to hold you to it, but like, how did you how do you determine what a custom piece is worth? Complexity, hours in,
Actually, right from
what
the
you've done before?
beginning, I started a spreadsheet,
Okay.
calculating what's a good base price, what's a good fair market value based price. And so when I have to increase my prices, unfortunately, with this economy, I recently did that. Um, but I offset it because I now offer free shipping on everything.
Gotcha.
So, you know, I don't know that I actually did anything, and I think about that. But when you increase my prices, I have like this base price. So every 1 inch of leather is X amount of dollars base price.
Interesting.
And then, so 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch, 6 inch are the standard earring sizes. The necklaces are all standard size. The bracelets are standard. The hat clips, the pins. What else do I even sell? Um, all the things that I sell, they all have standard base prices based on the inch of leather. Then from there, when I add a metal component, the price goes up based on the average cost for me for that metal component. And then if they add paint and time, doing those kinds of things, what is my time plus supplies for paint? And that's added on. So I actually have an Excel spreadsheet. So it says how many inches or what product here. And then it says, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. And so I just click 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and it knows how much per, or if I did two feathers, because some of my earrings have multiple feathers. And it goes through and it just, whatever I did to that piece, it calculates it out to the end. And then I know how much to charge. So when
Makers
it
make,
comes to,
she's got it figured out. At
my
least somewhat.
background is actually in business. So the business part I got, it's the marketing I have trouble with. So when it comes to business plans, marketing plans, like planning, like doing the business part, I got that. Actually executing them, that's a whole other story.
No,
Well, the marketing.
I've never thought about it as an inch process, but I mean it totally is, especially with what you're doing. And I like at least having a rhyme or reason to why you're doing something.
I'll have to be honest, Springfield Leather Company, which is where I get a lot of my exotics, love them. They sell their leather by the square foot.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a mama's girl.
Oh, mommy.
She's like, I haven't had enough attention.
Oh, talking to people on the internet. Give me love.
So when they sell by the square foot, I was like, well, that makes sense.
Right.
So why don't I just calculate I mean, every piece of leather I get has a different price. So I had to actually like average that out and figure out what was the right price to make, for whatever I'm buying. So that was a whole lot of like calculating. And I don't know that it's an exact, but it's fair.
Still pretty good. I love it. I think that's awesome. Have you ever had anyone try to or not try to, but barter with you, or do you do
All
any
the
kind
time.
of bartering all the time?
All the time, all the time. Absolutely barter. I love Color Street nail polish. I don't have any on right now, but I have a Color Street lady who loves earrings, so we
Okay.
switch all the time. Um, Recently, this young lady
Oh.
found on the internet. She has her own business page, by the way, if you want to ever see her antics. And she found a cookie maker,
Okay.
and so we traded earrings for cookies.
Oh man, I want
Right.
some
You
cookies.
loved her cookies. And I found a yarn maker who
Okay.
hand dyes beautiful wool yarns. And so we traded earrings for yarn. And
Don't tell me you made that thing you're wearing.
this, no,
Okay.
no.
I was gonna say that
Um,
that's a lot for me to comprehend. No.
I do have like 4 or 5 sweaters I've made, yes,
That's awesome. I
and
love that.
dresses and scarves. And I make her, actually, I make her dresses. So this
Oh,
dress is something I made. And the yarn that I got, I'm making her a sweater with.
oh, that's awesome. I mean, that's impressive. That's super impressive. I think that when you can, um, I guess my thing behind the making of things is the feeling and the memory and the meaning behind those things are so much more than something that you would just buy. That someone put their time and their effort and their attention on that specific thing, and you're getting a piece of that person. And I didn't think about this for our I didn't always think it like this. But the more I got into the maker community, the more that I've met you guys, it's I want pieces from people that I like, because every time I touch that piece, I don't just think about like how I've handled it, how I have it, but I also think about you guys with that piece.
So that's something that I actually focus on quite a lot. Especially, like I said, women want that one of a kind,
Sure.
and they also want that experience.
Yeah.
So even though I may be making this and have no idea who the owner is going to be, like, well, with the custom jobs, I know who, but like the non-custom jobs, I don't know who's going to buy. Um, let's use this pair, right? I've got this cute little pair. It's got little dragonfly wings on it, very earthy colors, nice for spring.
Yep.
No idea who's going to buy it. But I do know that I made it earthy colors with the dragonfly. I was going for that fairy tale, earthy, woodsy kind of person. So I have the person in mind, even though I don't know who the person is.
Sure.
So when they buy it, it was made for them.
Yeah. Now,
That's something people want, is something that was made for them.
do you do different, like, and I already know the answer to one of these things, but I think it's worth asking again. Do you do regular earrings? Do you do different metals? And then can you also do clip on?
More than my biggest hindrance to purchases is I love your earrings, but I let my holes close up. I
Sure.
love your earrings, but I'm allergic to most metals. I
Yeah.
love your earrings, but
Well, I asked that because my daughter does not have her ears pierced, but likes wearing earrings sometimes. So when I buy a pair from you, which got interrupted by vacation, I'm going to request the clip-ons because my daughter wants to wear earrings, but she's not ready to get her ears pierced.
so I've got clip-ons.
Oh, I love it.
And they're custom adjustable. So I usually loosen them because, of course, everybody complains clip-ons hurt.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing I have is well, first of all, you said what metals? I
Because
just pulled my
I do
metals.
know that the allergy thing is a real thing.
Yeah. So when it comes to metals, I have brass,
Okay.
real brass, because brass with leather is like classic, right?
So awesome.
But almost everyone's allergic to brass because it's made
Okay.
with nickel. You can't make brass without nickel.
Interesting.
And it's the nickel that people are allergic to.
Didn't know that.
And even surgical stainless steel has a little bit of nickel in it. So when people are super allergic, they're like, oh, I can't wear anything. That's why, because there is no pure surgical stainless steel. Everything is nothing is pure anymore.
So what do they
But
do? So what's do they have an option?
yes, of course, there's always options. So I got the brass. I have iron that looks gold, and I use iron because it's more nickel free. But of course, like I said, there's still a little bit of element of it. But these are my bases. Everything is made with these base ones, and then you can purchase an upgrade.
Yep.
And then I've got the surgical stainless steel. And of course, not only the hooks, I have them in the bales and the jump rings and all of the components. So there's a surgical stainless steel. Oh, well, I'll get into this one next. So those are the primary, and this one other one are the primary ones. If you're really allergic, because nothing in America is pure anymore, our silver is called 925, and everyone's like, "Oh, you got to get the 925." That means its own. That means there's still a percentage of non-silver in there. that
Okay.
that doesn't mean that it's good sterling silver. It's the best you're going to buy in America.
Yeah.
That's what I sell. I sell it plated, or I sell it full 925.
Yep.
And then gold, I have the gold plated, but I also have the gold fill. Gold
Okay.
fill means that it's not pure gold either. There's a
Mm,
small percentage that's not pure. So if you have a hyper allergy, you're going to be allergic to all of those.
sure.
Now, sticking back to my base products that I design in these things. This is copper.
Yep.
No one's allergic to copper.
Okay.
Copper's pure. It's the last of the pure elements here in America.
Interesting.
So when people are allergic, I usually try to push them towards the copper. And they're like, no, 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 I need to go with the gold fill. I need to go with that. And I'm like, yeah, you have to go with the copper.
That's interesting.
There's no nickel in copper. There's nickel in the rest of them. There's no nickel in copper.
Interesting. Well, that I think that offering those kind of things, especially in terms of jewelry, is sensible. Do you go? Where do you primarily sell your things? I know you had mentioned your website and social media, but do you ever go to craft fairs or shows or anything like that?
Sorry, I jumped out of screen for a second. I do want to go back and finish these.
Okay.
Go over the ear. You can wear them with glasses. You just can't wear them with masks. Although you're in Florida, so you guys don't do masks. I'm in New
what's a,
York,
what's a mask?
California. We still have masks in New York and California. It's still very much a thing. Um, so these, I can add 4 different levels, and I could take almost any pair and upgrade it. So, dun, 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 dun. And then it goes behind the ear and hangs below and looks like, well, if it's actually attached, and then it looks like an actual earring.
That's awesome.
So that's another option. Now, when you do like for your daughter, probably just one, we'd keep the rest of these empty. But if you did all of them, they kind of get a little bit more grown up looking.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's also a hook at the front, so you could also do one at the front, which is definitely much more grown up looking than you
Yeah,
probably want for your daughter.
that's interesting. I never thought about that. I think those options are very customer friendly.
I try.
No, I think that's
Like I said,
awesome.
if you can't find the earring, I'll make it for you. I tried.
Yeah.
There is no reason I can't get you into a pair of earrings today. Actually,
Listen,
come to think of it, you know, Eugene, I've got a pair that match that shirt.
well, hold on. You joke, but I actually have both of my ears pierced. Got one when I was 8 because my stepdad had his ear pierced. I actually don't know or remember which one was which. Um, and I got the other one when I was 16. So both of my ears are pierced.
No, the
I
George
just never
Michael
wear earrings.
dangly, yeah, the George Michael dangly earring is back in style.
Okay. All right.
So if you need
Can
a feather, let me know.
can you make a um like a like an arrowhead style earring?
I did for the Super Bowl.
Did you? Oh,
Oh
yeah, okay.
wait. The Super football game. You
Yeah.
can't say that other word. That's it's owned by somebody. That's a trademark. So the Super football game I
Yeah.
made,
The big football game.
um, all of the 4 finalists. I
Yep.
made all of those teams inspired earrings, and one of them, of course, was an arrowhead.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
I'm not
then
sure I'm a
I
dangly kind of guy. I actually, on my desk here, sitting to the side, have an earring. Well, you can't actually even see it. But my wife never has. I mean, we've been married for coming up on 11 years. She's never really seen me with earrings because I haven't worn earrings in a really long time. And I found these like packed away somewhere, and I put them in a stud and a hoop, and I was just like walking around, and she was like,
who are you and where's my husband?
what is that? And I was like,
Yeah, check those out.
I mean, I had my ears pierced. My kids saw it and they were like, "What are you doing?" And my daughter's like, "Is that real?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah." And they don't they've never really closed up. You'll hear some sounds, but they've go right through. But I just don't wear them. It's so. But yes, I have seen that the dangly is in style.
It's back. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so this has been awesome.
You had asked a question, but I don't remember what it was.
I don't know. We were talking about a little bit. Where do you primarily sell your items?
Primarily online.
Okay,
Locally, I will do home parties.
okay,
So if you want to invite a few friends over and see them personally, as great of a photographer as I am, and a lot of my marketing, I don't know if you've ever seen it. There's some really good images. I do a video of them. I do a still, so you can see them still. You can see them in action and moving. So I do a lot of different things, and as great as that is, and I do my live videos and I show them to you and explain things. They still look 100% better in real life.
sure.
So if you can't see them and touch them, you're not going to really understand how amazing they are, which is why I have so many repeat customers, because once they get them, they're like, oh, I need more. They're super lightweight. You forget they're in your ears. I've actually gone to sleep with them in because I forget they're there. So they're just really amazing to have once
Yeah,
you. So I'll do home shows. Because I'm in New York, craft fairs have really changed. A lot of the farmers markets, like closest to me would be the Schenectady Farmers Market, and that's really shut down for crafters and anybody. I mean, it used to be you had to be a high-end artist or a farmer. Now they've kind of made it only a green market, only farmers, because of the pandemic.
sure.
We keep everything down to the minimum. I was accepted in a juried art show fair, but it's out in Albany and it's Saturday morning every morning for the entire summer. And that just limits so many other things.
Sounds hot.
And they don't have, well, I'm in New York, it's not that hot. Um, and compared to you,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
compared to Florida. So they just don't have a really good turnout right now.
Gotcha.
and it started off really strong, but now they have fewer and fewer artisans participating because they just don't get the turnout to give that kind of commitment.
You mean of like the customers, potential customers?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, if I'm not selling and I want to spend the day chatting with creative people in a parking lot under a tent, I would do it. It just doesn't seem worth it to me for an hour drive to Albany.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So, mostly online.
Huh.
But there's plenty of artisans, jewelry makers that are just selling online.
Yeah. Sure.
Oh, I also sell in boutiques.
Okay.
So there's
How's
that.
that been?
Um, Not as easy to get into boutiques as I had hoped. I know a lot of jewelry makers sell a lot through boutiques. I sell everything at a markdown that would give them their standard markup to be back in competition with me,
Sure.
which is fine. I don't mind that, because they'll see them in person at those places. And then when they buy it, they have my contact information with the purchase.
Gotcha.
So, but the local rodeo store, the local country western store, both sell my pieces.
Have you had people buy there and then contact you later for additional pieces?
No,
Okay. Okay.
I still send my information, but no, not that I know of.
That's, okay.
I
Well, they
don't
could have,
actually.
but you didn't, they didn't tell you.
Most people, I can trace back to which social media platform they found me on,
Okay.
but I
Good.
don't know if maybe they bought my piece there, then found me on social media, then bought a piece.
Gotcha.
But I do have like 3 or 4 organic sales that I don't know where they came from.
Hmm. Sales is sale, I guess.
Take it.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
take it.
Yeah.
I don't know where you came from, but here, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, right. Well, it's been a pleasure to talk with you, a real artisan. We're gonna put all of your social media links in here. People will be able to get in touch with you. Is there anything you kind of want to leave us with, or anything you want to let us know before we go?
You need earrings, I can hook you up.
I
You
love it.
need
I
a
love it.
necklace to match? I got you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need a hat clip? Hat clips are completely unique and individual. I can hook you up.
I like
Do you
the,
wear
the I like the
cowboy hat?
variety. I might get myself an earring. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to get back to into the earring wear, but
I
maybe.
think if you bought an earring, I'd probably custom make you a metal one with like a metal feather instead and a little chain.
Ooh, ooh. All right, we might have to talk about that. All right. Well, hey, have a great day. And thank you so much.
And thank you.
All right. Bye bye.